They'll stop, please.
We had some big news in the NBA earlier today. Houston Rockets GM Daryl Morey stepped down. This according to Adrian Wojnarowski. After the team was eliminated from the bubble, Morey reached out to owner Tillman Fertitta about leaving the job, and the two sides began working on an exit agreement. The Rockets are planning to promote Executive VP Basketball Operations Rafael Stone to GM, who helped build the current roster. He broke the story. Adrian Wojnarowski joining us now. So what more can you tell us about this decision today for Morey to step down?
Yeah, Matt, it was Daryl Morey's decision to walk away after 13 years running the Rockets. They've won they're the second winningest team in that span in the NBA behind the Spurs in the regular season. But Daryl Morey was ready, I think, to take a break. The job certainly is a grind. He has had a tumultuous year, obviously going back to last October with the tweet about the Hong Kong protesters, that relationship between the league and China. But this was his decision, and the NBA is back on television already in China, and now Rafael Stone moves up to general manager in Houston, and Daryl Morey's got two college-age kids who are taking gap years this year, and I think it's a chance for him to catch his breath, look around the landscape, and see what else may interest him out there. But this is a Rockets team that returns certainly James Harden, Russell Westbrook, and an owner who says he's willing to go into luxury tax to continue to try to keep the Rockets a contender in the Western Conference.
Yeah, so this is going to be a complete overhaul for them outside of the roster, at least when talking about a front office and a GM and now a head coach, because they still don't have one. How does this impact that process?
Well, Morey's actually remaining on board to help shepherd the Rockets through this coaching search. And he's been meeting and talking with candidates, and candidates started to become aware of his decision that he was going to step down. Jeff Van Gundy is meeting again today with the Rockets. He spent yesterday with management, with ownership, Tillman Fertitta, and he's doing that again today. And the Rockets have remained in contact with Ty Lue, the Clippers assistant, and Ty Lue is a prominent candidate with the Clippers, and Jeff Van Gundy is also a prominent candidate with LA. So there's a lot of interaction with candidates between those two coaching hires.
It's amazing to think we're probably about a week or so out from when the NBA's regular season would normally start, but here we are ushering in what promises to be a busy offseason. Adrian Wojnarowski with the latest here on SportsCenter. Thank you,
Thanks,
Woj.
Matt.
Coming up on SportsCenter, what we can expect from Clayton Kershaw's return to the mound as the Dodgers look to draw even with the Braves for some of these rescheduled games that we're seeing.
All right, more COVID news yesterday. Alabama's Nick Saban tested positive Wednesday morning, immediately left the team facility. This comes during Alabama-Georgia week. To this point, without question, it's the biggest game of the season. Now we wonder and wait for the latest batch of test results to come in, which we learned last hour from our Tom Rinaldi that the players were tested yesterday and this morning. We do expect those results to come in tomorrow on Friday. I want to welcome in our Paul Feinbaum. And Paul, what impact will Saban's likely absence have from Saturday's game against number 3 Georgia?
Matt, it could be significant. I mean, I don't need to tell you or anyone watching, he's the most important coach in college football. He's possibly the greatest coach of all time. And don't ask me, Vegas moved the line, or people bet the line, from about 6 to 4. So 2 points for a coach. I've never heard of anything quite like that. You might see a quarterback affect the line, but in this case, I think it could impact the outcome of the game. I mean, first of all, we're talking about two of the best teams in the country, and as you know, Nick Saban is involved on every aspect of the team. He's not a chairman of the board type who coaches from the tower. He grabs players, he grabs assistant coaches, and he makes almost every decision.
Yeah, and that's going to go on Saturday, too. And players, creatures of habit. If their head coach is not in the facility today or tomorrow or for the bus ride, that all goes into the fact of not having one of the greatest coaches, if not the greatest coach of all time, with your team in the biggest game of the season. So we talk about it if a player's injured and they lose a game. What if Alabama loses Saturday without Saban, and now the College Football Playoff Committee has to weigh in on that down the road?
Matt, if it's a reasonably close game, I don't think it will have any impact whatsoever for a couple of reasons. These two schools could play again on December 19th in the SEC championship game. Should that happen and Alabama then wins, and I'm sure Georgia fans are saying, I can't believe this would be happening to us again, then I think Alabama would be a cinch to get into the college football playoff. So I don't think this is the end of the world. This is not the last game of the regular season, a Michigan-Ohio State game like we saw years ago. So there's still plenty of time. Now, if Georgia somehow blows Alabama out, then it could be a mitigating factor. What impact did Saban have? But I think in the end, this game will have very little impact on the college football playoff.
Yeah, Paul, I could make the argument, probably would make the argument, that Alabama losing Tua when they did last year has had much more of an impact on Alabama than Nick Saban would for a week or two because of COVID. More Paul Feinbaum today, 3 Eastern, SEC Network. Always good talking to you, friend. We'll talk soon.
Talk soon. Thanks, Matt.
Okay, we're going to talk a little NFL with Marcus Spears, but I want to introduce him before we play a game with him. Are you ready, Marcus Spears, for this fun game? Okay, it's called
Revelatory.
This is revelatory. Blind resume. All right, so we're going to show you the blind resumes. Okay, here we go. On the left, we have Patrick Mahomes. Impressive numbers through 5 games. This is from his 2018 MVP season, a season in which he threw 50 passing touchdowns. Look at the numbers on your right. It's from a quarterback, 5 games in. This season, the numbers better and eerily similar. Marcus, who is the mystery quarterback?
El, I know you like to play games and use big words that I don't understand, but I'm going to go with Patrick Mahomes.
The answer is...
Ryan Tannehill.
No. Josh Allen.
Oh, I like
It's
it.
Josh Allen. Bills Mafia is about to be all up in your mentions. The disrespect. Both Allen and the Bills and Mahomes and the Chiefs coming off their first losses of the season. They will face each other on Monday. New on SportsCenter is Mahomes on playing Buffalo.
I think it's always awesome to go against a great opponent. Going against the Buffalo Bills, I mean, they have a great defense. They have a great offense, great special teams, just an overall great team. And so anytime you get to play on these games, Monday evening, night, whatever it is, and you get to go up against a great opponent, it's always an exciting challenge, and I'm ready for it.
All right, Marcus, so what is your biggest concern for said Chiefs in this matchup against Buffalo?
Yeah, El, we can talk all things Chiefs, obviously, but to me, it's the big plays. And we saw them give them up against the Oakland Raiders. And you would think that Spagnuolo, the defensive coordinator for the Kansas City Chiefs, will get that rectified and fixed based on what the Buffalo Bills have been doing with Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs. And hopefully John Brown is healthy. I think they missed him against the Tennessee Titans as well. But the big play against the Chiefs defense was the reason they suffered their first loss. Aguilar caught a long deep pass. Obviously the Henry Ruggs pass, and then Waller work in the middle of that field. So that's something that they're going to have to defend against. And also Josh Allen extending plays this year, getting out on edges and making sure that he's buying those receivers more time. Him and Stephon Diggs have it going as good as any QB wide receiver combo in the league. So the Chiefs will have to be conscious of that. But if they give up big plays like they gave up against the Raiders, they'll find themselves in the 2-loss column.
Exactly, because the offense always shows up. The Chiefs have scored over 31 points a game in Mahomes' 9 career losses as a starting QB, highest average by any QB in the Super Bowl era. So that offense just needs a little reciprocity. Marcus Spears.
No